Hey friends and fans, welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. MGTOW, it's gone mainstream. Everybody's starting to take notice. Men are awakening. Men are establishing boundaries. Men are walking away from women. Men are done. Men are done with the bullshit. They're done being with women that use them and abuse them. They've done dating. They've done putting up with women who don't see what they're worth. Women who only want to gain. Women who don't want to provide children. Women who don't want to provide anything. They want to be done with a situation where they are abused and abused for every financial benefit, tax benefit. Men would rather live alone, sit in silence, than date a pretty woman. Because they don't fucking respect them. Because they're going to keep manipulating you, treating you like shit, because men are not sticking around to find out anymore. You can tell men, no matter how many times you tell men that you're not like other women, you're not going to believe. They are done with your bullshit, right? Women have made all these promises. They've promised to change. They've asked where all the men at. But the few men who came out of their shell, or whatever you want to call it, I know what women want to call it. I know what they say. I know the words. I know the lingo. I know the insults. But men's awakening is a shift towards firm boundaries, self-respect, healthier relationships. This is not about dating. This is not about marriage. It's about having healthy relationships in the workplace, in business, and family life. Because feminism is spread everywhere. It's family members, once trusted, turn into ardent feminists. So men have to communicate limits in everyday life. They have to no, you can't come around at 3 a.m. and sob about your breakups. No, you can't introduce me to your friends for the 15th time. No, men are done. Not with anger, but men, their revenge is quiet. A consistent, persistent action. Men are cultivating trust with each other and attracting, if they so choose, high-quality partners who meet their standards, and when a woman says she has standards, she meets those as well. And they look for every legal avenue they can to protect themselves, including not marrying their partner. They literally form a partnership, and you walk away, or you cheat or whatever, you're in breach of fiducial duty, you don't get the prize like you do in marriage. And this has got politicians panicking, because my theory is politicians have set everything up now for great wealth transfers, so they and their banking friends can just loot it all in, and the hedge funds can sweep in sideways and take everything, because we all know where the politicians put their money. Yeah, they don't put it in banks like chumps, do they? They got special banks for pollies, and we all know them. They call them blind trusts, but you all know what they really are. Private asset equity funds, or aka hedge funds like BlackRock. Now, core aspects of the men's awakening movement. This is like new manosphere, whatever. It's a movement within a movement that has overlays with MGTOW and other movements. It's basically, it's not a handbook. It's not an organization you join or pay dues to. It's a set of ideas that come out there to say to men, set boundaries. First, demonstrate your self-worth rather than your selfishness. The quiet boundaries. They're not built on anger. Your boundaries are built on trust. You set them, you explain them, and when they're broken, you walk away. There is no physical or mental enforcement. There is just a personal limit. And as soon as it's breached, it is breached. Filter out the dysfunctional. You set boundaries against incompatible behavior. And you don't, if she's out at 3 a.m., that's it, man. You're out of there. You are not putting up with, when she's come home, she's got the eviction, you've got the eviction notice, everything, all, yeah, you ain't chasing her. You ain't chasing her, you ain't calling her, you ain't doing shit. This is why a lot of men aren't dating anyway. Because they know it's not if, but when. Okay? That's the 3 strikes you're out rule. Right? 1, 2, 3. No, if you can't attract a healthy woman, well, maybe, yeah. This dating thing, a man should not be teaching young women how to be an adult because they have no father around. And they have bad mothers anyway who they go home to. And the bad friends. So when you're setting boundaries, remember, it's not just them. It's their friends. It's their family. Remember, if they have bad friends and bad family, they're acting. Because dysfunction, there may be something dysfunctional with you that attracts them, thinking that you're an easy mark. Okay? Like, that's what they do. They learn personality types and behavioral patterns that this what women do. They test, see who puts up with their shit. Whether it's the wide-eyedness or you see they mistake your quiet anger for a pushover. So, and improve your emotional safety. Right? Don't be in a rush to express any emotion you have. Acknowledge the emotion, let it pass. Okay? And as soon as you need to acknowledge a lot of emotions, like around someone, see what's triggering them. Like, is she giving you the right signals because she likes you? Or is she giving you the right signals just when she finds out you've got a 6-figure income? Learn to protect yourself. Integrity. You don't need to have sex with a woman to be validated. The primary treat it as first things first, business. Getting that child, securing that child, making sure that your child can't be taken away from you. And that's where you get emotional safety, friendship safety, witness safety. So anything starts going wrong in your relationship, you have witnesses to your boundaries, you have witnesses to your relationship, and when things go wrong, you have a safety guy. You call him and says, she ain't home, it's 3 a.m. And they know what to do. They'll be there in the morning, they'll log the call, they'll be, right, keep the messages. Use messages as much as possible because they're easier to log. They're much more valuable in court than a phone call log. And your buddy should know what to do, right? He's there to come in and say, yeah, I went to the house, I witnessed this, I witnessed that, I made sure there's no trouble. Hey, police were called, I'm standing there. Nope, no fists were thrown, no swearing, no abuse. And she is in deep doo-doo, man. This is what men have got to do. We got to start teaching boys, right, to be men quicker and faster, to up and run from girls in high school. Because if girls can't learn to manipulate you, they have to learn to be adults, and that's the hardest thing in their life to do, is be an adult. Now, common boundaries that you should respect. Your personal time, your work time, your personal goals, your hobbies, your friendships, right? All your existing relationships are protected space. You have a set time where you've come home from work, you need a wind down time, you have a relationship time, but you also have your broader weekends. You've got to protect your broader self. With relationships, more is less. Okay? The less you spend on your relationship to the minimum time per week equals more. If you have date nights, multiple date nights, you have all these multiple things, you know what you're going to do? You are spoiling a child. And you are teaching her that she can control you. So, one, protect your time, protect your interests, protect your money, right? Never move in, never spend too much time with them, and always make sure that you're able to sniff out their lies and make sure you know their friend networks, their social media, and you'll soon, yeah. Don't talk about when things go wrong, right? Women like to bring up, well, what if things go wrong? Then we deal with it. But you, in the back of your mind, before you get into a relationship, you've got to know your rights and what you can and can't do, and how to make sure that you at least get that 50-50 outcome where you ain't paying full child support unless you're getting full access. Because you've got to plan for this. You've got to go into a relationship knowing that you're not. And this is why so many men are walking away and going MGTOW, is because once they've been through this mess, they ain't going back. And that's where the majority of men feel. They're not going to set themselves up to be used and abused by the state. Because ultimately, that's who's behind all this. The state is fattening you up so they can take all the fat of your work and keep you thin, keep you desperate, keep you tied down to extra work hours without high overtime bills. Now, emotional honesty. Be honest, not just with yourself, okay? Because remember, you're going to fall in and out of love. You meet a mate, she might be the nicest chick in the world, but she'll grate you. She'll push you to the limits. So that's why you've got to set firm limits, stick to them, because women will put pressure tests to your limits. They'll always, you set a time limit, they'll show up 5 minutes late just to grind you. The goal of awakening is the transition from being a people pleaser, which is the expected role of a man. Don't be a resentful, grumpy old man like a boomer. All right, why do you think so many boomers are grumpy old men? All right, they're yes dears. Don't be a yes dear, but don't be a grumpy old man either. Be a mature, confident Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. We're the winning generations, like the millennials, the boomers. They may have the wealth, right? They've made a lot of it, but who are getting fleeced? They're getting fleeced by their own women, right? All the boomers, most of their wealth is going to old women or young millennial women. And what are young millennial men doing? They're getting fat and they're getting fleeced in their 30s, 40s. So they're getting fleeced. So, yeah, millennials are starting to wake up because they're going through divorce court thinking, they were immune because they were good little feminists. That's why so many men pretended to be male feminists, just thought they'd get immune from the fleece. Now, these boundaries are your central pillar, okay? You have to learn what are called principles, what you can and can't do within the laws of your state. But the main thing is your emotional integrity, time management, protect associations, and do not seek external validations. Get your validation from your hobbies, whether it's gaming, right? If you're a gamer, be upfront about it. Spare your mental energy. Avoid arguments. Become financially literate and learn how not just to be financially stable, but how to avoid being bought, right? Because women will buy you at first. They'll buy you gifts, they'll buy you clothes, and then expect you to do it in return later. But because they did it early at first, then they get you in the habit, and it never cycles back to them. They always get a return on investment, so never let them buy you. Intellectual growth. As you become financially literate, you have to become broader in your likes and pursuits, right? As you get older, some things may no longer entertain you. So, and to keep your mind sharp, TV ain't gonna do it, right? Get into puzzles, games, role playing. I'm not talking about video games here. Get into pursuits that challenge your mind. Now, as a middle-aged man, hunting is still a valid intellectual pursuit, figuring out animal tracks and directions, and or even games that do not Call of Duty or anything fast. You want an intellectual challenge. The RTS is a good intellectual challenge. Now, external things you have to build your communication skills, become a learned listener. That is, you listen for all the clues around you. Always be on the guard for something gone wrong. And be reliable. Always make sure you know your promises, keep your promises, build a reputation of being trustworthy, build a reputation of no nonsense, right? You have just boundaries with all relationships, right? Someone says, hey, your whole girlfriend's hot. Bam, don't go there, right? No bragging, no showing off, right? You've got to learn to tone it down, be in the background, right? Be the deadliest guy in the room without saying it. And identify your fellow big tails or alphas or manospheres, whatever group you want to identify with. Learn those groups, because they do start to identify themselves differently each time. So yeah, different groups, different goals. But main thing is, with your boundaries, you've got to be able to identify things that are going to trigger the boundary. All right, she doesn't come over all the time. That may be fine. She's working, whatever. But her free time is something you should be able to know and track, right? Because you got to know whether or not she's a loyal person, because the whole point of these movements is that women can't be trusted. So you've got to know when she's starting to avoid sex, right? Women who withhold sex either try to control you, or they're getting their somewhere else, right? Use an I standard. There is no we and there's no shouting. Enforce consequences. Right? You're late for dinner, we're not going. Restaurant is by 8:30. We are not there by 8:30. We ain't going in. I'm going to pay the late fee and go home. She's got to learn that she can't push you around. If you're on a special diet, you ain't gonna go. If you're on a special diet, you ain't gonna break it. A lot of men put themselves on a special diet, like a high. I recommend a high protein diet, of course. Or I know some people say, "But what about carnivore?" It works for some people, not everyone. If you've got certain medical conditions, you can't go carnivore. That, I think, was Jordan Peterson's mistake. He couldn't manage all his nutrients on his restrictive diet. So, and he didn't listen to advice on several factors, on layers of mental protection. That's what you're going to do. You're going to, like, before agreeing to any request, here's the big one. She wants a sleepover, right? Make sure you have 24 hours notice. Make sure that there's nothing that it's interfering, does not interfere with your current goals and schedules. And there's an exact limit, right? Yeah, you can come over for the night. Next Tuesday, but you ain't. But when I go to work, you're going home, right? Women will always try to creep into your life to worm as much out of you as you can, right? If your goal is not to marry her, then do not let her worm her way into controlling you, because that's what women do. They want to control their environment, okay? They want to settle in and control that environment. Never use a negative response. Try to avoid negative responses. This is what triggers women, is negative responses. Instead of saying no, maybe next time. Instead of saying you're bothering me, say I'm busy, I need quiet time. However, low stakes requests. Let's go for drinks. No. Let's go to dinner. No. Anything from a meal down in your priorities. Like, you got to have a 7 layers of priority. Like from petty to really urgent, right? Take me to the hospital. That's simple enough. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Take me to your mum's place. No, right? You meet my mum when it's time. That women will always try to drive the relationship, but when you do it, right? If you want to push a relationship a day or two or a week or a month ahead of schedule, right? Women, they create a schedule in their head and they'll always try to actually go ahead of it. Like, they see you when they figure out how long it's going to take to get married to you. Women always do this, even subconsciously. And then they'll try to rush it to put that sense of urgency into you so you don't have time to think. So you need that 24-hour barrier, right? In any professional or personal relationship, not just, like, this is why a lot of men in the 40s, 50s, and 60s would never sleep with a prostitute, would never take a woman home from a bar. This is why dating used to be get the phone number, ring her the next day, organise a date for the day after that, and that date that you organise is then followed up by see you in 2 days, right? You never date. Okay, you always have gaps between everything you do. So you only see someone 2 to 3 times a week. And you would take up to 2 years before you even get from the dating to the sleeping together. And then the sleeping together up to 5 years before marriage. But people just want now. Don't let the urgency or fear of missing out or social customs or social norms or any getting called outdated or any insult to break you from your boundaries. You learn to set boundaries and more people respect you for it, right? You are teaching women that you are not a pushover. First, you teach your friends and family around you. However, you start local, right? You start with your existing relationships before you even think about dating. This is a problem. Most men don't master their friendships before they move to the next stage of life. So, master your family. Set the rules and boundaries with your family. Once that's harmony, set it with your friends. Once that's harmony, then you decide, are you going to date? Procreating and marriage is separate. But always have a plan for business, always have a plan for dating. There's a very good rule in business, right? Never eat where you shit, right? Never mix business with pleasure, okay? No matter what the temptation, right? We've all seen it. right? Women use sexual aggression to gain any and all advantage. Always keep that. So I know it's a lot, and you have to go over this over and over again, and you have to make points, and you have to write things down, and you have to have a notebook. But that is what really needs to be done, is to hammer home that you have to learn. The ancient Greeks did this. This is what university used to be, right? University used to be philosophy, to learn how to be a man, to learn to be either a stoic or a warrior or a philosopher. It wasn't just stoicism they taught. They had 16 architects. They were architects. Wasn't just a I sit down and draw now or design buildings now. It was an entire personality. Doctors, they had an entire personality. This is where psychology originated, was actual Greek personality archetypes. You learnt to be an archetype. So someone in a conversation will go, oh, I know I'm dealing with a doctor or a philosopher or a stoic or a warrior. You know, so you knew with the warrior, you say, hey, how's your wife? Bam! Right? So you knew what to expect from these people. We are reawakening, right? Whether it's Odinism, Greek Stoicism, they're all reawakening in men and realizing that the reason why these religions persisted for 400, 500, 600 years after Catholicism was introduced to Europe was that they served us so well. Yes, they became religion. Yes, sort of Odinism was a religion, but it was also a way of life for a hunter, a warrior, right, or explorer. They might not have had as many personality types as the Greeks, but if you look at most European religions, they had 26 gods, and so they had 13 gods, 13 goddesses. They had up to 16 in some cases of each. They had personality types. These were not physical beings, but manifestations of personality types, so that people knew, oh, I identify as a Hera, I identify as Odin, or whatever. But around, I think it was 1200, 1400, the Catholic Church outlawed elfism. Yeah, humans used to worship elves, by the way. And then the Catholic Church had the Great Purge. 200 years. Books were burned, people killed. Very nasty business. It's all coming back. You can't bury good ideas. Now, elfism is more a mixture of honouring ancestors, honouring those who came before us, be grateful for what they have given us, build on knowledge, don't replace it. So, like, you knew what worked, you build, you don't destroy to recreate later, which is what Marxism does. So, don't be a femboy, is what I'm saying in short. In short, yeah. Big word is, number one thing, I am not a femboy, right? I am not a people pleaser. I'm an emperor, not a servant. Lions do not need the approval of sheep. Get used to the idea that you are the prize, you're the provider. You are not worthless. Thank you for your time. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support the channel. You can support the channel in a number of ways. Like, share, and subscribe. Support me on Ko-Fi, Patreon. Buy my books, buy my merch. I appreciate each and every one of you. See you in the next video, and bye for now.